What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Road to Results podcast, where we're all about uncovering the mindset journey. I'm Rhy, that's Ray, and I'm Rhy. Either way you slice that pie. Welcome to episode number 40, y'all. Yeah, number 40. 40. Let's go. We have made it to the next decade of this chapter, or the next 10, I should say. Started with number 40, and it is great to be with you all. And if this is your first time rocking with us, we are documenting our 52-week journey in the UOU Mastermind under the leadership of Dr. Eric Thomas and Associates, aka ET, the hip hop preacher, just dropping nuggets, reflections, and just everything in real time to the different results that we are getting, and sharing that road, the good, the bad, the ugly, and indifferent, all of that stuff. So what's up, Ray? How you doing, my bro?
Oh man, doing good. Just making the adjustments. I was just telling you, man, it's windy, so I don't know, I'm hot, I'm cold. Maybe it's because I am this is the 40th episode, going into my 40th season of life. I don't think that's the right age for hot flashes, but who knows? But nah, man, just it's always, man, it's crazy how quickly time flies, bro. We are in January, but bro, it's like, bro, we just did the countdown, bro, and it's already so.
I know who you telling. I'm like, even for me, it was like, okay, you're gonna the goal for January, just focus on finishing your pre-licensure class and get those hours done, pass the exam so that you can sign up for your test. So yes, I am finished. The test is passed, and next step is to get a date to take my license exam, y'all. So that was part of the goal for mid-December, and can't believe we're already there. I mean, mid-January, and we're already there. So it's like one of those things where we got the target set, and you just, act on the plan every day. I think part of my takeaway so far this year, literally because I've been cutting back on all the things, like I said, that aren't in alignment. So if it wasn't my real estate courses, if it wasn't having to do with my ministry work and the schools I'm going to serve, it didn't have to do with this podcast or with my family. Literally, I'm not even spending time on it. For real, it's what I've been doing lately, or what I've noticed lately, even my screen time is cut down majorly. Moments where I'll scroll and check everybody else's lives out on social, right, and try to keep up. I actually went straight to the real estate class, or when because it was all online. And so man, just seeing that result in the first month of the first quarter for me is definitely a good sign. And the cool thing is I'm not posting about it unless people are only hearing about my real estate journey right here on this pod. It's not even on my personal Facebook, it's not on my Instagrams, nothing, because we're just moving the way we move, bro. Just gonna go swimming, keep my head down, and then just gonna look up 3 months later, 6 months later, yo, where we at?
Yeah, and it's definitely a different. I love it because it's different, but it's the same thing. It's different, but it's the same thing because it's still part of who you are in your ministry work and what you've been doing and growing in, and not just, it's not an individual thing, but it's also an effort to support and grow with your beautiful bride, my sister Danielle. It's not just something, because I think sometimes we go into a new year now. Someone asked me, what are your goals for this year? And I was like, honestly, a lot of the same thing. So you want to elaborate on that? I'm like, not really. A lot of the same thing. It's it's that growth and that effort. That it's consistency, regardless of what the efforts and the energy looks like. It's consistency of doing. We can't keep changing things up. So someone say, okay, Rhy, last year was real estate. You doing real estate even part of your plan? And you're like, no, but the focus on what you're doing is building teams, developing, growing with Danielle, supporting her effort, but doing it in unison, creating a community of people that I can pour into, that I can help them grow and become the right person make their real estate journey a success.
That's it. And
That's the
and
same.
and,
It's the
and
same
here's the
thing.
cherry on top, right? Here's the USP. If you want to talk about unique selling propositions, what you get when you rock with us and our team is you get that EQ development. Straight up, because part of all the teams we're working with, we are bringing in the flight assessment. We are introducing it. We're doing EQ training because when you look at any industry, but especially in real estate, like your EQ gotta be up there because you're dealing with sales, phone calls, people hanging up. You're getting good news and then it's bad news, right? It's an emotional roller coaster, as you know,
Yeah.
even from the investor side. So if you don't have the EQ to hopefully grow your AQ, that adversity quotient, because that's what we really bringing in to 2024 is really focusing on AQ, because I think you and I both can speak for the fact that we are in positions right now where it's like, yo, we're not exactly where we want to be or ought to be. We're not where we used to be, but it's not easy, right? It's one of those things where we are getting tested, getting challenged. The obstacles are showing up, out of nowhere sometimes, or maybe they're right there in front of us. But with the right EQ, we develop that AQ. And so my role in the real estate part or business of, that Danielle and I are putting together is really about communication. Perfect example. The other day, we're working with a family friend who is investing out here in this area. And so she's looking for the houses. That's what she does. She does the research and, we got the budget, we're running the numbers. And, so now she's drafting up an email on how to communicate, the first communication on like some of her findings. And she's like, "Can you help me with that?" And I'm like, "What's up?" She was like, "That's your thing. You're the talker." I was like, "Could we change that title, the talker?" But in her mind, she's like, "We're gonna be a team. Like this is what I need support with. How do we communicate clearly, concisely, or just in the way that I always do?" So she goes, "Can you just help me? Because when I hear you talk to principals, when I hear you seal the deal with schools or with whoever you're working with, like that's what I'm bringing to the table, but that's what we're going to share with our entire community. So
Yeah.
everyone that's working with us. So yeah, it's just what you were saying. The license is just a formality to be able to
Yeah.
get in the ring, to get into the arena, and be able to do the things legally and ethically, so that we're not, out of compliance.
Yeah, no, man, it fits so many places, man. So you're like, okay, like we're bringing the assessment into the team to help people understand. And like I said, I had it's already been a lengthy day, but had to sit down, at Vea School and talking to, and she volunteers, like she's a retired school psychologist and she's a child psychiatrist, but she's like, I work with parents and stuff. So we started having conversations, and I just asked her, "You are familiar with the disc profile and this and that?" So I was going, one of the things like I've recognized is like who my daughter is naturally. She's naturally, bro. She's a FAGC. She be loving on people and she just won't experience it, man. Like we went and picked up, because we're having her birthday party celebration. Her birthday was last week, but we're celebrating tomorrow. But we went and picked up goodie bag stuff. She wanted to be a part of like picking the things. We're putting the little goodie bags for the other kids. And she gets home, man. She's like, "Dad, can I put these together?" Like she taking it all in her room and she putting them together, bro. So all the stuff we bought, she's putting them in. And then afterwards, I was telling the lady I was sitting with, after I go, and afterwards she has like the little I don't know, the like the rubber bands, whatever. But she's making a bracelet for each of the goodie bags. Like she wants them to have that experience. And I go, but it's so important for you to understand. It's like, this is not just an adult thing. Like this is your family. This is relationships. Like I recognize who my daughter is. So
Yep.
part of the thing in school, and I have to express this to her as I go during guided study hours, because she has that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I go, she has to be removed from the groups, because she just wants to have and provide experiences and conversations and that, because it's the balance of all those things. But like, so she's looking at me and she's like, now she starts asking me questions for her edification so that she can go help other people. She goes, so what do you think about? And I'm just like, it's so important. Like it fits in all areas and you can plug it into all conversations when you're having those type of talks. Like if you're working with an agent and you're like, okay, hey, you're providing a bunch of analytical data about the market to someone that cares nothing about, they looking for their forever home. So they don't care about the population growth here in the next 5 years and what the value of the home is like they're looking for an experience that they can have and that you can help them see and realize for them and their family. But if they don't realize that, you're going to lose all kind of clients and growth yourself. So as we're going through and ask that question, what are we cutting out? And I love that my sister, Melissa Thomas, she said, I'm cutting distractions. Like execution is the word for 2024. You have to be aware of that. Execution is not something that I have to verbally say for myself. Because execution, when it's naturally my strength, can be a distraction. I have to sit down and analyze and project and plan so that I can execute more efficiently. So as you're going into this space and place, you're still utilizing the thing that you've been doing with other kids, helping them understand like, EQ, you need that because AQ is it's going to happen. Like your response to adversity is going to happen based off, and how you respond to is based off your emotional intelligence.
That's it.
And you're doing the same thing with agents, bro, that you do with kids. It's part of your mentorship. But now
it's the same model. So like for me, right? It's like, so a couple things I've been doing for about 2 years now. So I've been using the flight assessment, created some programs, and I'm using it as a self-awareness tool. So just so I'm clear with all of our folks here, I use it as a piece of a program. So it's not the program, it's a piece of the program that I do. And I do the one-to-many model. So I usually have schools or organizations sign up, and then they'll all get an assessment. We'll do an overview. Matter of fact, I got a school, an elementary school in California, that I'm doing. The program's called Soaring to Success, a program I put together, and we use the flight assessment as the tool for self-awareness, because like you said, once you are good at the assessment or you're familiar with it so much that you know the different personality styles in yourself, then you start seeing it in others. And then when you start seeing it in others, so if you're a teacher, you start seeing it in your students. Now you can know what's going to be the best way to communicate effectively with them. What's the best way to get engagement with them, right? Reach Academy to create a global community of emotionally intelligent leaders so they can authentically reach and engage their audience. That's not going to change. Now, the industry, again, I believe Reach Academy is industry agnostic. But because my normal go-to is my church space or the school spaces, I'm bringing it there first because it's natural and normal for me. It makes the most sense. So I'm actually going to be back in Dallas in February. That same opportunity that opened doors for me last year, I'll be back at the same event, but it's in Dallas this year because last year was in Colorado. But now the conversations I'm having are going to be a lot different, because last year it was like, all right, who are you? What do you do? You're doing what? Emotional intelligence. What's that? After that time, and I spoke to, again, the leadership in this organization, then all the other opportunities last year popped up. But now the conversation is, hey, are you going? Because I want to have a sit down with you to talk about how we could bring this to the program. That same organization, they also reached out and asked me to write curriculum for some of their pilot programs that they're doing for accompaniment. And they're asking if I'm available to even be one of the coaches out of the 6 cohorts they're having nationally. So just the conversations are going to be different because we're continuing the same plan. So like you said earlier, what's your plan for 2024? Continue what we were doing in 2023, but just do it better. Right? But just make the adjustments just a little bit. So I'm still doing EQ underneath everything I do. I'm still evangelizing underneath everything I do. But now I'm learning how to make those adjustments and those adaptations to the different spaces I'm in to move the needle. Not just because I think it's fun or I had this idea, but no, like I want Danielle and all of our team and anybody we work with in our EXP team, I want all of us to be emotionally intelligent enough so that we can weather the storm, so we can have the right mindset, right? So we can be good, family members and friends and stewards to our community. Right, like, man. So, you got me pumped, bro. You got me pumped right now.
He said, "Weather the storm," and it's so important to understand like that piece. And this was, so from midweek this week at service, and I this week it might have even been at class. I don't know, but pastor was talking about. I was like, I love like those type of perspectives, because even like for me. What's my power verse that I always talk about, consider it pure joy. And I was like, how can that be my power verse if I truly don't understand it and willing to like accept and embrace moments where I have to like step into that? So he was talking about like when Jesus and the his disciples were out at sea, like, and he just snuggled up, in the boat, and like, the storm is wrecking back and forth, and they're like, yo, he over there sleeping, like, do you even care about us? Like, wait, can't you? It's like, don't forget, like, from their position and their experience, bro, like Peter, and like he was an experienced fisherman. Like, he had spent his life at sea. So for him to start panicking in a place that he was very experienced and comfortable in, lets you know, like, you still need to always consistently be able to develop your emotional intelligence so that you don't panic. But you still got to have a target and a focus to go, okay, as I go through this and as I grow through this, don't just go with us, grow with us.
Grow with us.
I'm going to be facing moments of adversity. That doesn't shield any of us. That doesn't, I've said it before to people, and you're probably the most pilot way, like, success doesn't shield you from life's crap.
Facts.
So I didn't say crap though. I said sugar, honey, iced tea. Success doesn't shield you from that. So like, but I say that power verse, and then as I enter a season of adversity, has my EQ developed through conversations and relationships with you and in other development, focused efforts? Has it developed me to the point where I can be like, okay, I look at it and I'm like, okay, to my sister Melissa's point, is this moment of adversity become a distraction to keep me from executing? Or am I just going to sit still and I'm going to analyze this and be like, okay, bro, like we have the experience, just calm down.
Yeah.
And we gonna make it through this storm.
Come on.
But calm down, because you've been rocking, you've been doing this for a minute. You've faced many moments and seasons of this. You've been in the storm. This is an area you've been rocking in for a while. Why are you panicking? Ooh. Yo, ye of little faith. Yo, bro, calm down. Like, hey, what are you doing, bro? Like, didn't you grow up? Like, oh yeah. Yeah. So it's like, understanding how important it is. So when someone's like, what are you doing? Am I shifting? Am I going to completely change what I'm doing? No. Doing the same thing. Consistency. Am I going to grow through this thing that I said I wanted to grow through, and understand that regardless of at what level that I'm at, am I going to remain calm? Am I going to let my emotions take over, or am I going to manage that to understand, okay, there's some adversity. We got to use these tools we picked up. Hey, and stop.
Come on.
Breathe. Think. Choose. Act. And celebrate.
And celebrate. Like yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, stop and breathe. I'm telling you, when people and I always tell people when I do share that tool, right, our self-regulation tool in the schools, is like, it's the order that's important. And I think that's what a lot of people forget. Yeah, because a lot of times we do those steps, but we don't do them in the correct order. So what EQ allows you to do, it helps you pull back. And just to that scripture you were talking about, Mark chapter 4, right? This is where, Jesus says, quiet, be still. He rebukes the storm. Right, everyone is going around frantic, talking about, hey, we're going to die or what? And I actually use this as part of my faith-based version of the SEL program I do, where I'm like, Jesus, what is he doing in the stern of the boat? He's asleep while everyone else is frantic and panicking. And so it kind of reminds me when I was growing up watching MJ. Was it Sundays? Marv Albert was like announcing the Chicago Bulls games. And I remember anytime the Bulls would be down, I'd be yelling at the screen, bro. I'd be like, yo, time out. Like, I'm like watching the game. The other team is pulling away, or they're on a nice run, up 5, up 10, up 15. And then Phil Jackson, bro, he's sitting on the sideline. Like, calm, poised, not even standing up, nothing. So as I was younger, I was like, upset, like, why don't you call the timeout? But what I learned more and more was like, he let them play and he let them figure it out. And then of course, if you follow Phil Jackson and his practices and what he does, they meditate, they do yoga, they zen, they have all this stuff. But at the end of the day, what he was teaching them was what he was developing out of them was their EQ so that they can have that AQ, aka game 7, and stay
Yeah.
calm, stay cool, stay collected. And I think that's where many people, I mean, we could look at our culture today. Quick, we're not slow to anger. Unfortunately, we are definitely
Hey,
saying things and doing things we shouldn't be.
we are quick to speak and quick to anger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's something that I think is important as we move forward in everything. That's why I always say EQ is everywhere, right? It's everywhere in everything. And once we recognize that and we can do that, and that's why I say, and why is self-awareness, why is that the main focus for me using the assessment? Because number one, self-awareness is where it starts. Because now you can recognize strengths, limitations, you can recognize patterns, you recognize all the things, and you can trace back to as far back as you can and start noticing when you started becoming that way. And then when you have all that data, now it's something, what is it saying? If you could measure it, right, you can manage it, and now you start making those adjustments. But yeah, bro. Man.
Yeah, what gets measured gets what's measured gets treasured, or what gets measured is treasured. I don't know, something like that. But you can manage it. And I see, Lorenzo got that question. What if everyone around you doesn't respect your boundaries? I mean, we'll key on that a little bit, but I think a big part of that is the episode that's getting dropped this week. Lorenzo but we were talking about your Fab Five, the people that are in, that are closest to the most, the average. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if people aren't respecting your boundaries, one, have you verbally expressed your boundaries? And if they don't respect them, they continue to push past your boundaries because they're not respecting them. I mean, you need to change your circle. And I don't want to restate all the stuff but I also don't want to dismiss your question. It's a matter of, okay, do you know your boundaries? Have they been vocalized and expressed to those that you consider that are close to you? Because you can say everyone around you. Who's everyone? Are they close to you? Do their opinion matters? And if they're overstepping those boundaries, we started this conversation initially off. So the things that we're going to, so I asked, like, what are we going to cut? So if they don't respect your boundaries and they're not someone that is very intimate and close, and I almost say like under your roof, bro, they gotta go. Like it, but give them some of the grace and express what it is that boundaries that they're pushing past. Why it's important that they don't, that they do respect it, and if they continue to do that, then brother, they gotta go. It's not easy, but it's also not complicated. But the episode that's dropping this Tuesday, I think would be of value too, because we do talk about
episode 39. Episode 39.
Yeah, episode 39. The 5 people that you are, you're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with, and the people that you spend most time with, you should have a common language with. And when they say boundaries, people that are in your circle that you have commonalities with should understand when you express boundaries that it's not something to be debated. Because we speak the same language, and when we have that language of the commonality and things that we can get to, when you say that's a boundary of mine, then they respect it. I mean, Ryan and I had it was a slight, it's not all, we just had an engagement where Ryan expressed a boundary that I was not aware of sometime last year. We were in Atlanta, and it caught me off guard, and I didn't know about it. But when he expressed it, I was like, okay, bet. But like, I honestly did not know about it, but I didn't take any offense because Ryan and I speak the same language. The people around us speak the same language. So when I saw that was a boundary, I was like, yo, just give me some context behind this so that I understand not to move forward or not to step into that area before. But if it wasn't for us being, I could have taken his response as offense, and as he said, I would have been quick to anger because we don't speak the same language, and I just take that as, that's disrespectful. But he could have said it as the same thing, that's disrespectful. Now we up in arms, and we not even talking over something that was just a boundary. So one, express it. 2, let them know why it's important. And if they continue to disrespect, brother, they got to go. You got to cut them dead in.
You got to cut him. And I agree, right? And I think that's one of the things I teach in schools to kids is that, we're empowering them to use their voice. So just in the terms of boundaries, I always remind, folks, number one, boundaries weren't meant for other people. They were actually meant for you.
Yeah.
So like for me, I set the boundaries for myself, for my own self. Now, and if people are not respecting those boundaries, number one, it's probably because like they may not know the boundary. This is why Ray says, say what it is. And then I love Ray's follow up and why it's important to you. And if they don't value you enough to respect that, and then like, you got to put yourself in a different situation and change the environment. Now, of course, sometimes it's going to be harder than others if this is like a work situation or even a family situation or a place where you don't go. But your voice matters. And most importantly, people need to know, because even when I teach the iMessage, students will go, well, you know what, Mr. Rhy, like I said my iMessage and they still kept doing the thing. And I said, well, what was the iMessage for? Was it for you or for them? They go, well, what do you mean? I said, well, the iMessage, you got it out of your what? And they're like, oh, my feelings balloon. Okay, so did it work in that sense? Yeah. Okay, so you didn't get the results that you wanted, but you still were able to learn how to advocate for yourself and speak for yourself, right? And they were like, yeah. I said, so it did work in terms of the tool to take care of your feelings and your balloons and manage it. But the result, you didn't get the result you wanted. Now, here's the thing. Maybe they were caught off guard. Maybe they didn't realize that you felt that way. And maybe they need to process it. And the more that they know and they're aware of how you're feeling or what's going on, it may not stop immediately, but you never know. It might stop at some point. But they'll never, it'll never stop until you actually even say it. Now, of course, we know like different situations. And I'm just talking more on an elementary school level. So I would just definitely reevaluate. And I love what Melissa says right here. In that case, you'll need to be respectful but firm, and then let them know, and that you'll be less accessible to them, and just give them that space. Right at the end of the day, control the controllables. You know what's affecting you and your productivity. You know what's draining your energy. That's the one thing I always say with the assessment. Like, what drains you? Who drains you? What activities drain you? And if you can't find the people, principle, or process to help, alleviate that, and help alleviate that from you, then you might just need to cut it out or be less available. So yeah, I love it. So, and speaking of like, cause we want to talk about that last time we were talking about cutting folks, and then Ray ended like right after the pod. He's like, yeah, them dead ends. We were talking about them dead ends. And so for all you out there who've ever grown your hair out, and because your boy used to have long hair. I'm trying to find that picture. My hair was like back. It was like halfway down my back. I had a wave because my hair is straight. So I had like a wave. I did like a perm so it could be like puffy and had a little afro. It was legit, bro. It was legit. I felt like, I
need that picture
for reals. I'm gonna find that picture, bro. But I had it braided up, and I had like, my hair is black, but I had like little streaks, blonde, brown streaks back in the days. That was a cool thing back in Cali. But yeah, it was, bro. My hair was like, poof, I'm talking Booyah Tribe. But I remember, like you're talking about split. What is it called?
Dead ends. It is split ends, but
I was thinking about burnt ends because I was thinking about that pork. Some bacon right now, but
he said, I'm thinking about some brisket. Let me get them ends.
But back to dead ends. Talk about that, bro.
Yeah, no. So I think a lot of times, like right there is like, okay, sometimes people around you, they don't respect your boundaries. We'll stick with that, like that concept of it. A lot of times, when you look at it from the concept physically, okay, of your hair and you're growing that, those dead ends. Out of all of your hair, those dead ends been with you the longest. So you feel like you have some sort of relational equity that you don't want to let go of, but they've been with you the longest, but they're not growing, and you're trying to grow. So how do I willingly let go of those things and those people and relationships that have been with me the longest? Just because, we talked about before, my day ones versus my day twos. My day ones, just because we're in the same environment, whether it's school, work, sport, whatever it is that you have that relationship with, you have with them the longest, but they're there, but they're exactly what right there. Dead ends are awful. They're not doing anything. They're not. Matter of fact, it's just making things look worse. It's restricting growth, because the moment you cut that off, you can grow. The growth starts. It's almost immediate. Like it's almost immediate. Like, as young men, like when I'm trying to grow a beard, okay, you need to shave. How does that make sense? I'm trying to grow something. Like you need to shave to cause that friction and for your pores and stuff to open. But like on those dead ends though, that's literally been part of you the longest, when we're just talking about from a literal standpoint. But from relationships, those that you feel like just because they've been there that long, you don't want to let them go. You have to, if you want to grow, because we ended the last one talking about, okay, getting rid of those things that are not serving you, that's not growing, 5 people you spend the most time with, and the ones that are not adding value to you. It's not mutualism, it's parasitism, whatever. All that conversation comes down to, okay, if I look at people around me, am I just keeping you with me because you've just been with me for a long time, but you are not adding any value to my life, and you won't even receive the value I'm trying to add to you? You're not respecting my boundaries. It's a dead end. You a dead end. my boy Rhy used to say, you a flatliner. Like
Flatliners, bro. The flatliners. You know what I'm saying? Beep. Like, bro, if I'm not even getting a tick, 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 tick. Like, bro, we got to be like tick, 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 tick. Like, it got to be a firm beat. Now, I'm not even taking a low. I'm not even hanging out with low pulses anymore, bro. Look, and I say this with love and charity. Y'all know my heart, but I'm not even messing around. I'm not even spending my time with low pulses anymore. It used to be just beep. Used to be just the flatliners, but now even low pulses, like if we ain't there, and again, it's nothing personal, and I don't actually, I'm like, I don't want to be a disservice to you as well. And so a couple things just before I forget, like you said, dead ends. Number one, people been with you the longest, and literally like they're the things with you the longest. And then I also look at it as in back to Lorenzo, the idea that people who are just continuing to cross your boundaries are also a form of a dead end.
Yeah.
Because they are not helping you grow. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just throw a little extra on there. And because my wife, right, she used to get her trims, right, when she used to get her haircut. Now, in order to trim your hair, a proper trim, you don't just trim the dead end. You also gotta trim some of the good hair too. It's actually a couple of inches. So I want us to take that in. Not just the dead end, but you take some of the good stuff with it too to get the full benefit.
We'll call it this: the hair that's closest to those dead ends. So remember we talked about the 5 people that are closest to you. You're the average of them, but just because I'm closest to these 5 doesn't mean that each individual of these 5 are closest to the other 4. So Rhy is not necessarily closest to these other 4. So who Rhy spends his time with, if he's not spending time with people that are beneficial to the development of him, which makes it beneficial to me, which I'm poor. It's mutual. It's a mutual.
It kind of goes with that idea of like, right, good to great, great to phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They might be good or it might be good things in your life, but is it helping you become great?
Yeah.
Or it even might be great, but is it going to help you become phenomenal? And if not,
no, man. Brother, there's so many things that you like when you start to keeping an eye on and be aware of what's going on with around you. But there's and I was, don't get me caught, me, I'm not too much in like the details of the thing, but it's like, okay, if you hang out with someone who is overweight and you're trying to get in shape, if you hang out with someone who is overweight, there's like a 40% chance that you yourself will become overweight. Okay, you remove that. If you hang out with someone else who hangs out with someone who is overweight, you have like a 20% chance of becoming overweight because who the people you hang out with associate with. Bro, like, but and it's all there, man. It's like, okay, I'm trying to do these things, but because I'm not aware of the people that are around me, of who they spend their time with. And it's not being nosy. Just pay attention. Like, be aware. Awareness, self-awareness. Like, just be awareness of your surroundings, of those who hang out, the way they speak, the things they do. And you'll start to recognize these things. But it's like, if you're trying to, anybody out there is, okay, hey, we're at the beginning of the year, 2024, and I'm starting this year off. Why do most people not make it to whatever resolution, whatever growth mark they're trying to get to? It's because we talked about this before, like when you start something, there's some excitement, and I want to bring these people along with me. I want you to understand where I'm trying to go and the things I'm trying to get to. But bro, what's the hardest thing to do? Like when you're trying to, and I'll just use the most common thing, like New Year's resolution, is get into shape. When you haven't ran or exercised in a long time, what's the first thing that you start to physically experience?
Yeah, SOB.
What was that?
Shortness of breath.
Shortness of breath. Shortness of breath. let me ask you this. How are you going to breathe life into somebody else when you're constantly out of breath?
Exactly. Exactly.
You have to go ahead and cut all those things that are keeping you out of breath so you can get some strong breaths in you before you start pouring into other people. You have to develop a certain lung capacity. You got to develop your capacity of growth before you can start bringing somebody else. Who said pain? Courtney said pain. So all those things. So pain, shortness of breath, but all those things. Like what I was getting to is like, you have to realize that, like, okay, if you're not about this life, and if I truly want to catch my breath and grow to the capacity that I can, so I can actually, what we said, breathe. But you over here trying to drag somebody else along with you, pull them out, whoever it is, people that don't respect your boundaries, people don't understand what you're doing, they don't speak the same language as you, and you're over here explaining and over elaborating because they don't get it, and you're trying to get them to get it. Why are you wasting your breath? You can't breathe life into somebody else when you're constantly out of breath.
Look, I love it. I love it. So, all right. So you took me somewhere.
Let's
Because
go
as
on
we're
this.
talking about capacity, we're talking about growth, we're talking about cutting the dead ends, mindset, and so I'm just gonna share, flat out like my mindset right now. Let's just talk about the health piece. So for me, on my fridge, I got Danielle and I. We put pictures of us, throughout our 17 years of being together. All right, like just all different years, and of course, when you're younger, of course, we a little bit more slim. But when I look at the most um healthiest time of my life. One of them was 2019, the year of 2019. And again, I was, right into Thrive, right before COVID, right? I landed my biggest contract.
Was
It
this
was
when you
a, it
had
was
that
a,
good hair?
nah, that was, bro. I was like 21, 22. Hey, that was that was a vibe. But when I think about the 2019 and just health wise, business wise, family wise, everything like before the shutdown was in full swing. And I told myself, okay, physically, what was I doing then consistently? And I was doing Olympic weightlifting and I was doing some form of cardio hit training, type exercise. And so of course with the transition and movement and all the different things that I've been, going through, I was like, man, I'm trying to find my rhythm again on like what it is that I can commit to and what it is that gave me the best results in the amount of time that I had each day. Because I'm putting myself back on that 2019 schedule of course, we're getting up early for the mastermind at 6 a.m. East Coast time. But I'm like mapping out my day because I'm still back in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock. But what I'm actually doing mindset wise is let me go back to doing what I used to do, at least for my physical training, which was 95% or 90% Olympic weightlifting. Front squat, back squat, snatch, clean and jerk, some type of variation of those movements with some type of like hit cardio, whatever. Because I've been, at Crunch or 24 or Planet Fitness or whatever, and just kind of hitting machines and going to ellipticals, right? Going walking, which is cool. But it wasn't the same type of exercise that I know got me to my peak. So maybe for some of us, we may need to start thinking back when we were at our peak in certain areas of our life. What could we actually bring back and reincorporate, or maybe something we haven't been doing and adding along with the things that are going to bring us that capacity? Because like when you said capacity in air, I'm like, man, honestly, every day that I lift, again, it's not about going heavy every single day or heavy singles, but when I'm under that barbell, like that for me puts me in a mental clarity. That's one of my things for mental clarity, but also strength wise, cardiovascular wise, energy wise, like it just does something different for me. So I would definitely say for those of you who are finding or who are getting into the health and want your health to be better, like maybe it's something you've already done in the past that you need to pick back up instead of maybe just trying to find something new or do something off the wall or off the hook. And then, of course, nutrition wise, I'm back on my animal based. So my animal based protocol. So yeah, I won't talk about that because that get too controversial.
I know what it is, but it's just making me hungry.
But
We
yeah, man.
said
So
we
I mean,
said
what do you
burnt
think?
ends
What are your
earlier.
thoughts on that though? Like going back to something and picking something back up. Like, is there? What are your just general thoughts on that, or is that something that you do or don't do? Why or why not?
Yeah, and I mean, it's always like you said, yeah, like you said several times before, like we don't look back to stay there, we look back to go forward. So some of the things, I think that's just a general assessment of where you were at versus where you are now and that progression. And when you see certain things that were working for you and you're like, okay, why did I let that go? And sometimes it goes back to, again, we were talking about, it's like, okay, what are you going to do this year? And we change it up. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, it's working, but I want to mix it up a little bit. You'd be like, why? Just because that's the norm. Is like, we got, in order to say, what are we doing this year? We got to throw something brand new out there. So we got to make space for it. We don't have the capacity to add. So we remove, but we remove something that was working to try to introduce something that is innovative and exciting. And so,
Trendy,
yeah,
trendy.
it's trendy. Yeah, it's trendy. So like, why are we doing that? So if it's working, keep working it. Consistency.
Right,
Now
right, right,
there's got to
right. So
be
are you telling me,
yeah.
bro? Are you telling me that it might be boring sometimes?
It's gonna be boring. It's
Are you
gonna
telling me that being, going back maybe to some of the things that were pretty basic but very powerful, like we might have to go back to it? Because I think that's where people might miss this. They might miss the fact that you say it all the time. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be
yeah,
glamorous, right? We talk
yeah,
about that 80-20 rule. You do
yeah,
all that 80% of the work that's unseen,
yeah,
and people probably only see that 20%.
yeah. It's that consistency. Yeah, it's gonna be boring. Like the and that's the start of anything. And that's where it's like people are, we want to be entertained, we want to have those emotions involved. Okay, EQ, okay, understanding. Like it's both understanding that, okay, good emotions are, if you're always just searching for that emotional high, you'll probably never have a relationship that lasts. And that's with anything. But that's with
Come
working
on.
out, that's with business, that's with platonic, romantic, that's with whatever it is that you're doing. You're always going to be looking for something because you can't withstand the boring. And I say boring because it is literally just the things that you consistently do. What you consistently do is what you'll eventually become. And if
That
you
part.
are consistently looking or changing or blowing up your spot, and I don't even say that in a negative way, I just mean like, yo,
Yeah.
we just got to change it. Like, bro, you ever been to someone's house? Like every time you go there, like their living room is completely, like it's decorated something completely different. Like the couch was over here, and then you come back like 2 weeks later, it's like over here. The TV was up on the wall, and then now it's over here. It's like, yo, why are you doing that? It's like, I don't know. I just feel like I needed something new. And it's like, if you're always looking for something new, like you're always going to be in chaos. Like you're always going to be like, there's never going to be any type of stability in it. And like we said before, two things can exist at once. You can look for change
That's right.
and be consistent, but that consistency has to be in the development and growth of who you are, and not be looking for those exciting
There you
things
go.
of,
There you
bro,
go.
I was doing P90X and now I'm doing CrossFit and then I was doing Olympic weightlifting. And now, you know what? I'm going to go out here. I'm going to run some, I'm going to run a triathlon. I'm going to go do like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
do
Well,
you do?
and you just alluded to what I was gonna say, and going to what Melissa T saying, right? I think that adding something new comes down to feelings. The truth in discipline is the truth is the discipline is in the boring, and as Gary said, discipline is the ultimate form of self love. And so, like to what you were saying, just to even going in with this, like yeah, when we are in our feelings, we always want to like maybe try something new, do something more. That's what shiny object syndrome, whatever that. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. But what you're talking to, and what I love is that no, change is fine, but let's reframe, right? We're talking about words, right? We're not changing, we're evolving. We're evolving. So that should be part of, for me, like that's the mindset for me. Like get to a point where you're doing stuff over and over, you're following the system, you're running the play, you're doing the things, it's tedious, it's monotonous, like, but it's getting results, it's moving the needle. But then it gets to that point where because you can maybe add something in or you're doing something a little bit differently, all still in alignment, but you're just evolving versus being in your feelings and saying, oh, they're doing that, I'm gonna try that. Oh, she's doing this, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I saw that person doing it that way. I'm like, man,
Yeah, and
split
let me,
ends,
I
burnt
had to look
ends,
it up.
split
Just
ends, all the
yeah,
kinds of ends. It's an
I don't
end at
know.
the end of the day.
The
Split, burnt.
burnt ends of briskets are good though, so that's a
They
good thing.
are.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And just to continue to stay true to who we are and what we consistently do. For the Lord disciplines those he loves and punishes each one he accepts as his child. Disciplines the ones he loves. The ultimate form of self-love is discipline. Why? Because the Lord disciplines his children and the ones he loves. Like you have to, like it's necessary. It's discipline your body in the way it should go. Like train your body to do things that it should do, not what it wants to do, but what it should do. It's
Come on, talk that
discipline.
talk.
Stay
Talk that talk.
consistent. Like it's training. Like if you just go and you continually chase that feeling or whatever it is, the emotional high, the feelings, the experience, whatever it is that you're looking for, and you have no discipline about it, you're like a leaf blown in the wind. Like I have no idea where you're gonna go. You have no idea where you're gonna go. Like it takes that discipline, and if it's not discipline, if it's not something like we've talked about before, like discipline, disciple, like it's not something you have to study. It's
There it
consistent.
is.
You have to spend time with it.
Come on.
You have to do it, and that's love. And as love, it's like I teach my daughter and do certain things with her because I have to show her out of love. She may not enjoy it, but if I just let her do whatever she wanted to do,
Yeah. No bueno.
no bueno, no
Bro,
bueno.
and that's what I share all the time whenever I talk about discipleship, where I do talks on discipleship or share about discipleship. What's the root word there? Discipline. Right? Disciples had discipline. Like you want to be a great disciple, you want to be a faithful disciple, then just replace that even word disciple with discipline. You got to be faithfully disciplined.
Yeah,
Right. At the end of the day, that disciples were disciples because they were disciplined. They left everything of the world. Right. They were in it, but not of it. They left their families, left everything behind. They followed Christ. Like that takes discipline. And like I say, time and time again, following Jesus is not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it at the end.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to be worth it. And so I think you're right. And discipline equals freedom. I know that's another popular phrase that people don't always catch. Right. Discipline equals freedom. Like, because when you have the discipline to take care of your finances, when you have the discipline to take care of your health, when you have the discipline to take care of your relationships and your relationship with God and your family members, then guess what? Now you have the freedom to do the things that your heart desires.
Yeah, yeah,
Now you have the freedom
Yeah.
to live life on your own terms, like we would say time and time again.
yeah, yeah. And let's just make sure that we extend that grace. And you said the disciples were disciplined. That is both a in the time that was both an active and a passive statement.
Come on.
They were being disciplined. What they were being disciplined, externally from the good teacher himself, while also showing certain levels of discipline. But they had to continually be disciplined throughout. Like there's several examples, like the one that we showed, earlier, as far as like, you little faith, brother, have I not shown you enough? Like, what are you doing? like we talk, like all these things, like you have to be in that space and place of understanding that it's going to take something that you are uncomfortable with and you may not want to do, but it is definitely what you need to do. Wants versus needs. You may not want to be disciplined. You may not want to go into an uncomfortable position and place in life. My guy, Hall, you may not want to stay in this position to receive your manna because it's sustaining you so that you can grow into you can go into the land that brings forth milk. And like, you may not want to continually eat the thing that takes some discipline to receive, but it's what you need to do to receive the things that you truly want. So you need to be both disciplined and to continue to seek discipline.
Uh-oh.
And I'm gonna let you know, hey, and I may be disciplined in certain areas, but there's certain things, and I'm just like, when someone tells, like, oh, like, you right, Like, I'm not happy about it. Like, I'm not happy about it. Like, I'm not. I get it. Like, yeah, I get you. Like, there's still that fleshly, that pride, all that stuff that shows up. And I'm just like, oh, like I said
maybe,
earlier.
and maybe some of the things that happen in people's lives are a form of God disciplining them. I'm gonna say that one more time. Like, some of the things that God allows to happen, we say ordering the steps and the stops. Maybe there's some things that God is allowing to happen as a form of a discipline so that you can grow your discipline in Him. And it's crazy. I was marketing. Speaking of discipline, like I did my originally for my like faith-based program using the flight assessment. It was called Discipleship Starts with DISC. DISC. But I was playing on that hard, and then it got because we're branding the flight assessment though. It was like discipleship does start with DISC. I'm gonna let that drop right there. I mean, it's just if you use it, just give your boy some credit. But at the end of the day, like if we had the discipline to learn our behavior and behavior styles and our personality styles, and had the discipline to have a dimmer switch and know when to turn on the pilot and not when to turn it off, and knowing when if we had all the tools and we had the discipline to use those tools and really activate to our full authentic self, like. That's discipleship. But yeah, discipleship starts with DISC. That was one of the programs. I actually bought that domain, I think, too.
Discipleship starts with DISC.
With
Call me the DISC doctor. You guy right there, yeah. For those like, hey, my brother over at Access Granted. We had actually mentioned that a little earlier, man. As far as that passage in 2 Corinthians, as far as like train your body to do to do what it should. So that I myself may not be disqualified. Like that portion right there, I'm not reading it verbatim, but yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, that because if you don't train it in what it should do, it's gonna do what it wants to do. And what I want to do right now is go over to this couch and it's middle of the day, but it is Friday. I want to kick it up and pour me a sip or two. Like I just want to chill. Like I don't want to do anything, bro. Like that is.
Hey. Out here it's storming right now. Like it's storming, it's 20 degrees. I'm ready to throw the blanket on and do the same thing, but I got two more things that I got to knock out after this call. I got two more pieces of work I got to do, but the discipline is gonna give me the freedom, because what I'm putting in a contract for one of the schools, and then a proposal for another. So it's like, I mean, this is the play. We just running the play.
No, it's the play. It's like, I got it. Okay, so, and this is just example. It's not. I think when Ryan and I are like, we always want to be as transparent as we can. With the EQ displayed as well. But I've got a showing tomorrow morning of the house. Holiday season. Nobody's looking, so haven't really. I got to clean this house up. To say that. I also have one more assignment due for this class that I'm in, my master's, that has to get done. And then I've got 2 classes that are in my church leadership college that I have to finish up. I'll say that guy, I'm gonna catch you. That I get to finish up, get to be here to do that kind of stuff. That I have to finish up before next week, because Monday is a holiday. So either Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll be taking the finals for those 2 classes. So those ought to get done. Because this evening I'll pick up my daughter, and we got to finish getting up her goodie bags ready for her birthday party tomorrow. We're going to have 15 very energetic young girls who, my energy management. But all these things, what do I want to do? Bruh, it's windy out here. It's nice. It's still crisp. It's fresh. I just want to chill. I just want to relax. But
yeah.
I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
But guy, what I need to do is I got to keep training.
And so, yeah, and that's really it right there, fam. Like, really think about what it is again in your life, or the areas that you maybe need to be disciplined so that you can develop discipline, and then you can have a nice grin. You like, I'll put that in there. All right, that's how you know it's getting that time. But listen, fam. With that, y'all, Ray, did you want to add any final words before we jump off the pod? I think it's definitely a great episode, as always, in the sense of like we don't script any of these things. Before the pod, I got, what's on your heart. We do our prayer. I say, what's on your heart? Questions that you have, or anything specific. We take a couple notes from the previous, mastermind session, and then we just go with it. So I'm always leaving here more energized every single time me and you get together. And then, of course, the Road Dawgs. When the Road Dawgs are on, dropping comments like Melissa T, Getting the Win Show. Again, she just had her her first workshop last week. We're excited to see where that's going to grow. So continue to grow with us. Guy Holly has a workshop coming up as well. We are working to get him on so he can share a little bit more about that, because if you want access to funding, it doesn't always have to be personal money. And time again, there's plenty of resources, and Guy is the guy getting folks out there to get access, grant ed. So getting that education. So we're super excited for all of the folks in our community. Again, when we win, when they win, we win, they win. When we struggle, we all struggle. We feel it, right? Or we feel that pain, but we're together in this through thick and thin. So let me see here. We got one more. One more
guy dropped some Hebrews 12:10. I know that's
there it is. Let's see.
Strong one for him right now. Yeah. So that was, that's the same thing that we read from the same chapter, just a few verses back. Guy we were talking about, for the Lord disciplines those he loves and punishes each one he accepts as his child. Yeah, that's just the family piece. But bro, as we get ready to close this one, man, I want everybody to remind themselves, like, it is a consistent process. Stop looking for those emotional highs and all those things that make you feel good. Like what he said right there. Or Melissa said right before, consistent in the moments when you don't feel like doing it. And there's going to be moments you don't feel like doing it because you're not getting a certain response in the way you feel about it, because it's become a consistent thing that you're doing. And consistency is boring, but it's doing the boring things, the minor details, the things that keep you proficient and efficient in the things that you're trying to produce and grow. That's going to get you to, I don't even say the finish line. I mean, it's going to continue to get results. Results breed results. And if you're getting results from being consistent, why are you going to stop getting results by trying to do something that's exciting? So remember to continue to work on your own endurance, your own capacity, your ability to grow and breathe. Remember, stop and breathe. Just breathe. As you develop your own lung capacity to breathe, it is at that moment in time that you can then breathe life into somebody else. But we'll finish it with this. If you're constantly out of breath, how can you breathe life into someone else? I've got asthma, so it's taking me a while to build some strong lungs, man.
I love it. Oh, see? Oh, you just opened up something new. I'm going to wait to the next pod. But anyways, y'all, again, thank y'all for rocking with us. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the podcast. Share the podcast with anyone that you believe needs this message. And again, we are so thankful to have each and every one of you on these podcasts with us in the community. And again, we, as we always say, don't just go with us. Grow with us.
Hey, and I'm gonna put this out there as we say, grow with us. Hey, if you want to, if we poured into you and we've given you life and we've breathed breath into your lungs, we are looking for some sponsors so we continue to grow the Road to Results podcast. So if you're interested in becoming a sponsor and becoming a supporter in the growth of this, this is just the beginning. We're continuing to grow. Reach out to Rhy or I, drop a comment in the chat, whatever it is. We are looking for sponsors
below, y'all.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so reach out. But y'all have a blessed day. Thank you for listening. Share with your family. Share with those who want it. Most importantly, share with those who need it. And we both thank you for all the support that y'all giving us. But yeah, episode 41 coming up next.
All right, fam.
Love y'all.
Peace.